Oh man, I'm back again, y'all. Um, my Birds just took a loss to the Seahawks. It was brutal, man. The stat sheet, the score don't look as bad as it seems because we only lost by 10, but it was crazy, man. I was actually at the game. First, let me say I know a lot of people mention my smoke detectors and everything. The landlord's supposed to become put in new ones that's less sensitive. They real sensitive, so they beep all day. My batteries is cool. We got like the landlord changes the batteries and everything. It's just they're so sensitive like that. They just beep all day. But he's supposed to be changing them or something. He said I don't know where the hell he is, but first and foremost again I want to thank Amanda Williams, Carrie Williams' wife, for giving me tickets to the game. I took my brother and I took my cousin. It was cold as hell. It was crazy. I actually thought this game would define like what type of team we are, but I'm real frustrated, man, because the plan was to neutralize Marshawn Lynch, stop the run, and contain Russell Wilson. I talked about their passing game and everything, and how it's not real. It's not a real dynamic passing game, but the key would be not letting them kill you, focusing too much on the run game. And they didn't necessarily kill us. I mean, I think Russell Wilson had 263 yards passing, but they killed us when it mattered. Like, I was there, I was watching, like, the third and longs, and we getting hyped, we banging on the chairs and everything, and we only sacked him 2 times. So, I mean, that goes to show you we didn't really contain Wilson. I think I put a question on my little questionnaire thing I put on my Eagles page. I said, will Russell Wilson rush for more than 50 yards? I think he had 48 yards rushing. But, like, I seen a lot of over pursuits where you had him and he spent out of it. He's real mobile. He's real elusive. And that's where he killed us the most. Breaking the pocket and throwing on the run, of course. But Doug Baldwin, I think, was the only receiver who had close to 100 yards. He had 97, 5 receptions. Like I said, they didn't really blow us away with their passing game or their run game. It's just that their damn defense was that fucking good. And I'll get into that in a second. Well, he basically made the passes and the plays when it mattered most. And our offense was, if I was to call our offense flat, that would be just me being nice. Our offense didn't do shit. And that's another thing I'm going to get into. My frustration with Chip Kelly. But anyway, first and foremost, y'all know I like to go through the stats. I like to read the stats. Now, crazy as it sounds, we had 9 damn first downs in this game. Seattle had 28. We had 153 total yards. Not passing, not running, total. Seattle had 451. They killed us. They averaged 170 rushing yards a game. They had fucking 188 rushing yards this game. They average mediocre 200 something passing yards. They had 263 this game. We had 96 fucking passing yards. We had 57 damn rushing yards. That is fucking ridiculous for a Chip Kelly offense. Now, their defense been making statements for years. And my one biggest concern was how our high-powered offense would stack up against a real defense. Like I told y'all in my last video, this is a real defense. Like, they're not just good against one, they're good against the pass and the run. 96 yards passing, 57 yards rushing. That's fucking great. I think that's just ridiculous. Like, I see why these guys are Super Bowl champions. As far as penalties, they had 8 penalties for 67 yards. We had 4 penalties for 69 yards. Now we each had 2 turnovers apiece. These are the 2 fucking stats that will blow you away. We ran 45 total plays. Seattle ran 85 fucking plays. 85. For a high-powered offense that gasses defense, which is us, they fucking totally flipped the script on us. They ran the type of offense we run. So it's like Pete Carroll snatched Chip Kelly's playbook and used it against him. Way to flip the fucking script. This is another thing. Time of possession. Now, I said this in the San Francisco game when I said Chip Kelly got out coached. Time of possession matters. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. The only way you can justify a time of possession game not mattering is when your offense is scoring so fast that you don't need the ball as much as the other team. For us to have the ball for 18 damn minutes goes to show you that Seattle was 3-and-out the shit out of us. They were ending our drives like ridiculously. They had the ball for 42 minutes. Ridiculous. And a lot of people want to believe that time of possession don't matter because Chip Kelly says it. It does matter. But this is the thing, and I'm going to break this down. It matters because it shows not only, like, Chip Kelly is the offensive guru, and I'm starting to believe that the general public fed into this theory that he has this dynamic book of plays that he hasn't even used yet, and he's waiting for the games that matter. Against a team like Seattle, you know these guys, like, they don't just play defense. They live defense. They sleep defense. They awake defense. They dream defense. They just play defense in their damn sleep. And for you to just think that our high-powered offense was going to be too much for them, yeah, that worked in the beginning of the year with the Chargers. The Chargers offense didn't necessarily kill the Seahawks, but it caught them off guard. I expected us to come out with a different game plan than we did, but I also worried, I didn't want to put it on video, but I worried that Chip Kelly would play this damn conservative offensive game and not game plan right for these guys. We didn't do anything Seattle didn't expect. And much respect to Seattle fans and everything, because the way that defense is playing, man, you just got to take your hats off to them guys. And the way they came in our house when we was undefeated and defeated us like that, like I said, the score doesn't really justify the game, but it was brutal, man. It was brutal. I'm just starting to wonder, man, like, is Chip Kelly just an offensive genius that hasn't adjusted to the NFL, and he hasn't adjusted to the NFL life? Like, I understand, you know, he studies sleep science and conditioning and everything, but you have to understand something, man. Like, when you game plan for a team that's not working, you got to make adjustments. Like, you got to counter the things they throw at you with something you can throw at them. You got to make, well, the defense was all right, actually. Like, in the beginning of the game, the defense was doing pretty good. Like, they gave up 24 points, but like I said, the stat sheet will blow your mind, like 451. But, like, the defense for the most part was good in the beginning. Like, we didn't get into the game until Macklin scored his touchdown, because we was jammed up outside in this long-ass line. But I was there and I seen the defense. Like, the defense was on top of these guys. They caught a couple bullshit-ass penalties, like the pass interference on Bradley Fletcher, which, you know, they called a holding penalty on Cedric Thornton, which was bullshit. Like, they was just pretty much, but even the referees, like, you can't even use that as an excuse. They just dominated us. Like, the mediocre passing game that they brought into this week, they actually killed us with it. I mean, like I said, Russell Wilson, he didn't really blow you out of the water with offense, but he made the throws and he escaped the pocket, he escaped pressure when it mattered and made completions. And when Sanchez came out, it was just like conservative run, short pass, conservative run, predictable run. He did throw deep ball to Riley Cooper one time, and I think he threw another deep ball that got intercepted. Sanchez threw the ball 20 times. Like, we were getting 3 and out so damn fast that it was ridiculous, man. Like, and I'm sitting there like, Chip, what are you doing? Like, are you going to do anything different? Like, are you going to throw something at these guys that they don't expect? Like, and it's the same way I felt in the San Francisco game where the offense didn't score a damn point. But at least we had, special teams and defense put points on the board. I'm starting to really think that he's so gung-ho about this fast-paced offense that he doesn't know how to make adjustments in the NFL. And I just think that's the way it is, man. Like, like, in the games where you gotta play conservative because you're up, like, by enough points. Like, when we played Dallas, we were up by enough points to play conservative and slow down the tempo of the game. That was cool. But the offense he called in this game was terrible. It could either be Seattle defense was that good or the play calling was just that bad. Like, I don't really get on coaches for play calling because every play is always 50-50 regardless of the situation. But I get on coaches for the predictability and the conservatism of play calling. And Chip Kelly frustrated me the most yesterday because I would see Sanchez drop back, complete a short pass, hand the ball off to Shady, something they expected. Like, I didn't expect us to do much against their run game and their run defense and their pass defense, which I mentioned. Special teams is gonna have to get us good field position so we can get points off less yards because they don't give up many. And the guy did have the muff point where he dropped the ball and we recovered it, and that's how we got our first touchdown. Another play we kind of drove and Ertz caught the touchdown pass. But we were doing this, which I said, off of short field position, like off of short field and good field position, like, so it was working as far as that. But it's like the play where the defense forced the fumble on Marshawn Lynch. The whole crowd got so hyped. We were like, yes, that's the turning point. This is the turning point. And offense comes right out, interception, defense right back on the field. I don't give a damn what nobody says, man. I don't give a damn how good condition your defense is. This is the third game that our defense was out there way too long. Fortunate enough for us, when we played Carolina, we won that game because the offense was clicking. So the defense just was driven off the momentum. You can't expect the defense to drive off your momentum if you're not putting points on the board. And when I thought of this game, I thought of the Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl, and I thought of the Oakland Raiders Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl. And I had it in the back of my mind this whole time that the best defense will beat the best offense any day. But I didn't want to think on that theory because I'm a diehard Eagles fan. I didn't want to look at this game that way. But it was in the back of my mind that defense always wins when it's better than offense that day. And that's what happened. But as far as everything else, Russell Wilson, 22 completions, 37 attempts, 263 yards. Sanchez had 20 passing attempts, 10 completions, 96 yards. That's ridiculous. Marshawn Lynch didn't even rush for 100 yards this game, but he didn't have to because Russell Wilson, of course, rushed for 48 yards. Lynch had 86 yards on 23 attempts. Russell Wilson ran the ball 10 times for 48 yards, so he averaged 4.8 yards a carry. Shady McCoy had 17 rushing attempts for 50 yards, 2.9 on average. His longest run was 10 yards. Sanchez scrambled one time for 7 yards. That was another thing. I mean, of course, y'all know I said in my other video, Foles and Sanchez is pretty much the same guy. In a sense, Sanchez is just the more mobile one. But you know, you got to worry about the turnovers. But at the same time, when they're on point, they're on point. Sanchez ran the ball one time for 7 yards. And that's another thing that pissed me off, because Russell Wilson sitting there is running bootlegs. The whole defense shifted one side of the field. And he just come out effortlessly and run. He actually had a touchdown on a, I think, 20-something yard run. I'm not sure. We were like, but no runs called for Sanchez. I seen a lot of Sanchez gets the ball. The whole middle is open. He don't take off. He's looking for a receiver to throw to, and I'm like, just run it. Like, I think Chip is so worried about losing Sanchez to an injury that he plays conservative when it comes to running the ball with him. And that's another thing that pissed me off. Like, if nothing else working, you got to hit a team in the mouth with something they don't expect. And the way the defense was shifting when he handed the ball to Shady, and they were all following Shady. He could have kept the ball and ran a bootleg. Nothing. Like, Chip Kelly just didn't do anything in this game. It got to the point where I said he's just wants to make this Dallas game more means a lot more than it would if we won today. Now, that's no disrespect to the Seahawks, because even that was some bullshit. The Seahawks defense is just that good. As far as receiving, Doug Baldwin led all receivers, like I said, 97 yards, 5 catches. Zach Ertz led. Macklin had 3 catches for 21 yards. Cooper had 3 catches for 13 yards. They didn't let anybody kill them in the passing game, which is what they take pride in, because their passing defense is, their secondary is the truth. Bobby Wagner, he led them with 7 tackles. The forced fumble was no. Terrell Simon, the guy matched up with Cooper this game, had the interception, and the pass attempt was the Cooper. Sherman for the most part had a quiet game, two tackles. Earl Thomas had 1 tackle. Cam Chancellor had 2 tackles, but Bobby Wagner led their defense with 7 tackles. Fletcher Cox and Michael Kendricks both had 11 tackles on our defense. I think Kendricks had the forced fumble when he hit Marshawn Lynch. The only 2 sacks came, one Connor Barwin and one was Vinny Curry. Vinny Curry, man, that's one guy I admire, man, because he doesn't even start, and he's second on the team in sacks behind Connor Barwin, and that's with his, he's not, I wouldn't say limited role, but that's with his role that he plays. Special teams was really like it. Donnie Jones punted 8 times. John Ryan punted 6 times. That goes to show you, like, our defense was forcing them to punt us the ball. Our offense just couldn't capitalize off anything that the defense gave us. So that's pretty much how I feel about that game, as far as everything that happened and whatnot. Like, it was just a game that pissed you off as a fan. But my main concern, like, a lot of people bash our secondary and everything. They didn't give up big plays. They gave up plays that mattered when we needed them to get a stop the most. But I would never put a game on the defense that's on the field for 41 minutes. I don't give a damn if you're the most conditioned person in the world. You're not supposed to be on the field that long. Like, every time you looked up, and I was at the game, freezing my ass off, and every time I looked up, our defense was back out there. It got to a point where I didn't even, like, get excited. Like, we were more excited on third downs when the defense was out there than we were when the offense came out. And it's just the same old shit, man. Like, we still Like a lot of people, when we lost to what was it? I don't really recall what happened, but oh, we lost to Aaron Rodgers and them, and I remember a lot of fans were saying, well, this team lost to this team lost to this team. Like, what makes us so different from them? If you look at the resume of the Kansas City Chiefs, they beat the Seahawks. Like, it's a lot of teams in the NFL. Like, Andy Reid is a proven coach in the NFL. He didn't win no Super Bowl. Pete Carroll outcoached Chip Kelly. Jim Harbaugh outcoached Chip Kelly. Mike McCarthy outcoached Chip Kelly. Like, when you go, these are the teams that establish an identity for you, whereas you know, like, you have a legitimate chance of beating them if it came to a meaningful game. And Chip Kelly hasn't proven that to me yet. We only beat one playoff caliber team this year, and that was the Colts. And that was the defense forcing Andrew Luck to have a bad game. But you went up against Green Bay, we got blew out. You went up against the Cardinals. Like, we lost that game, but for the most part, we were in that game. You go up against the Seahawks, you lose the game. Now we got a very important game against Dallas next week. But if you can't prove that you can establish a game plan to beat these better teams, you establish no identity going into meaningful games when you play them. Everybody picked us to lose this game. We lost this game. Like, the difference, and I know Chip Kelly's only in his second year, so it's not really a fair comparison to compare his resume to Andy Reid's, but it's so many people that ride the wave of this Chip Kelly high-powered offense nobody can keep up with. And I'm getting tired of that because I'm sitting in the background thinking, like, okay, what happens when a team can stop your high-powered offense? How are you going to counter that? Like, what are you going to do to throw these teams off, have them guessing? He didn't run any plays with Sanchez as the number one option. You know, it was just so damn predictable, man. And I'm like, it's the same old shit that I seen in the 49ers game. I'm like, you running, but back then you had the excuse to say that, oh, the offensive line is not healthy. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, Chip Kelly needs to understand that in the NFL, you have to make adjustments. Like, your game plan is not always going to work against every damn body because it's your game plan. And a lot of people ride that wave of he's this offensive guru. He's like, listen, these guys, they get paid millions to analyze, to watch your offense. I'm pretty sure the Seattle defense knew what options to take away from Mark Sanchez and have our offense in a dilemma, which Chip Kelly had no adjustment for. And that's what pisses me off the most about him. Not the play calling, the predictability and the conservative approach he took against the Seahawks. Like, they wasn't scared of our offense. Like, and now we got the Dallas Cowboys coming in here in a must-win game for the division. And I'm pretty sure, you know, that game will probably be a little bit better than this one was because Seattle is the number one defense. So, but we cannot keep losing these games to these playoff caliber teams because it doesn't help establish your identity none as a team that can win these games. Even Andy Reid in Kansas City proved he can beat playoff caliber teams. One win against the Colts will not establish you as a team that these big name teams and these teams that's used to winning games and being in playoffs and on the big stage, it's not going to help you none when you go up against them. They're not going to fear you, like, at all. And it's just as simple as that, man. He had no adjustments. He had no counter punches for what they threw at us. And they just dominated. For this offense to be ranked top 5, average 32 points a game, average, like, top 5 numbers and everything on offense, we did none of that. Like, they made us look like a damn high school team playing a scrimmage. And that's what pissed me off the most. We left the game, actually, before the fourth quarter was over. I couldn't take it no more. I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and freeze to death if this is how the game's gonna go. So now my man Moss writes, he asked me on my Instagram page a couple questions. I'm gonna answer them. I'm gonna answer them for him, and then the video, that'll be the end of it. He said, as you know, the NFL is a difficult place to succeed. Do you think our offense will be as successful next year with every team cracking down on us? Our offense always has the ability to be successful, but it depends on how you look at it. Like, I look at our offense as successful as being ran as a high-powered offense, but I also look at like how flat it looks when teams have a counter for that. So as far as next year, I think we can be successful, but until our offense start dominating these teams who take pride in the way they play defense, this type of situation where Chip Kelly's high-powered offense, high octane, it's going to turn into a situation where people say, yeah, they are high-powered offense, but you can stop them. And it's simple as that. Like, we can have that success next year, but we're going to have to make a lot of adjustments. And Chip Kelly's going to have to learn that. Like, it's not always about running a high-powered offense. Like, sometimes you got to, go tit for tat with the best defenses in the NFL. But it's only going to get worse with the teams that's cracking down on us. Like, they're only going to get better at doing that once they watch films on what these type of games and these type of teams did to us to stop our offense. How do you think our system would run with a dual threat quarterback? And if so, what do you think our chances would be to draft Mariota or trade for RG3? I think a trade for RG3 is more realistic than drafting Mariota right now, because I see that as a very, very long shot. A dual threat quarterback is good depending on how you use him. Like, now if we had RG3 here, I'm pretty sure Chip Kelly would still be the conservative coach that he is, because RG3, of course, he got the knee issues and the injury-prone aura that he now has over his head. So I'm not really sure a dual threat quarterback is the answer unless you utilize him the way you're supposed to. Like, if RG3 could come here and run our offense kind of like how Russell Wilson runs the offense for Seattle, you need a powerful running game. I mean, we got a great running back in Shady McCoy. So, but a dual threat is only a dual threat if you use him as a dual threat. Like Sanchez, he can run, but Chip Kelly doesn't make him run. Same thing he did with Michael Vick. You got a quarterback that got the legs, but you don't want to run him because you don't want to risk the thought of getting him injured. So it's kind of a 50-50 situation. Like, you could bring a dual threat in here and he can have the arm and he can have the legs to scare a defense, but you got to know you got to utilize him as a dual threat. So if he can run with the ball, if he can be smart running with the ball, but you're always going to risk injury in that type of situation. So I think it'll run great if you use him as a dual threat. You have to use him as a dual threat. But like I said, trading for RG3 is more realistic than drafting Mariota. Leaving our Pro Bowl quarterback still as a backup, or even trade or keep him. Nick Foles, man, I told my brother this. The only thing Nick Foles can do is work on his mobility and get some footwork. But even then, like, I wouldn't say he's a backup in my eyes, but if I had to pick out of him and Sanchez, not to say I'm on Sanchez bandwagon, I'm just gonna go with the more experienced guy because I honestly don't really see, like, our offense is already high powered. So like, what more can Nick Foles add to the offense? I'm not saying he'll be the same turnover prone that he's been early this year and everything, but you need a quarterback that, like Sanchez, I trust Sanchez about this much more than I trust Foles. Like, to run Chip Kelly's system, it takes the right quarterback. And if I was to choose, like if I had to choose between him and Sanchez, like number one like starting quarterback backup, I would start Sanchez for the simple fact that it just seems like the offense clicks faster and moves faster when he's in the game. But of course you get games like this where Sanchez is already approved. He's not really a proven veteran, but he already has the resume. So him losing this game to the Seahawks, it doesn't really dent his credibility any. But it doesn't help it either, because the naysayers that Sanchez have, all they'll say is Sanchez couldn't beat the Seahawks. But people like me, I would say, well, this is the type of game that you want to analyze Nick Foles in against the best defense in the league and how he plays against them. But of course, Nick Foles is injured, so it doesn't help his credibility none when you're trying to establish whether or not he's a franchise quarterback, because now he's on the bench. So I would go with Sanchez just because he's the veteran. But I still think we got a quarterback quandary on our hands anyway. Not between them two, but maybe deciding whether these two are our guys. So if we were to trade him, keep him. If we were to keep him, I would say let him battle for the job next year, but I think Sanchez will win it anyway. But if we were to trade any of them, I wouldn't be mad at a trade of either of them, but you have to get something beneficial in return. And lastly, how many drafts do you think we'll need to have a legit secondary? Oh, man. Now, this is the funny thing about that. Our secondary, man. Like, we added Malcolm Jenkins to the equation. Like I said, you know, Kerry Williams is my guy, man. Like, he catch a lot of flack from everybody, man. But like in a game like today, well, a game like this game here, our secondary was flat. But it was flat because the pressure we applied to Wilson wasn't effective. So it was more so like he didn't drop back and pick apart our secondary like Colt McCoy did or like Aaron Rodgers did. Like, he extended plays with his legs, so everybody knows that's harder on the secondary to keep up with receivers when the plays get extended. So, as far as how many drafts it would take, I don't know. I think we have the guys to get it done, man. It's just that they don't have, it's something missing in their chemistry. Like, I don't know if they take defense as serious as the Seahawks do, but it's just weird. It's just weird, because anybody, like Sherman was a 5th round pick, Earl Thomas was a 1st rounder. Like, anybody you can get anybody out of the draft, you can get lucky. But it just depends on like how serious you take your position. And the Seattle Seahawks take their defense very seriously. And even next year, like say we keep Kerry Williams and Bradley Fletcher next year and they become shutdown cornerbacks on the year. Like, it can happen. You just got to have that chemistry within your whole defense. So as far as like how many drafts it would take, honestly, I'm still pissed we passed on Dayon Buchanan. Not to say I'm mad we drafted Marcus Smith. I'm mad at Chip Kelly because you picked this guy in the 1st round and he barely even plays. So what exactly are you proving drafting a guy in the 1st round and then you telling the media and everybody, oh, he needs to do things that to impress the coaches to prove that, okay, what the hell did you draft him for in the 1st round? Like, you want to draft a guy, then make him prove himself. A 1st round pick's supposed to be somebody you hands down approve of, and you're happy that they're there when you pick, so you snatch them. Like when we jumped to get Jordan Matthews, he's proven why we did that to get him. Marcus Smith, you buried on the bench and make inactive. He doesn't even play. What you say is because he hasn't proven to the coaches. So what the hell did you draft him for? You had Dayon Buchanan sitting right there. You chose to keep Nate Allen and go with a guy you're gonna bury behind two or three starting linebackers. Like, I don't get it. Draft Dayon Buchanan. You got a more solid secondary because you got Dayon Buchanan. You got Malcolm Jenkins. Kerry Williams and Bradley Fletcher, they play a more physical style, but if you had the safety help over the top for them, like, they would be all right. A lot of times, man, like, it's blown zone coverages and a small case of them not getting their head turned around to make a play on the ball. But a lot of people say, oh, they get burnt. Like, okay, yeah, they do get burnt in man coverage too sometimes, but, like, why didn't we draft Dayon Buchanan? I had him on my Eagles page. I said, this is the guy we want. Let's get him. He was right there when we picked. We chose Marcus Smith. So you put that on Chip. But as far as the draft go, all it takes is one draft, really. Like, all it takes is a missing piece. Like, our secondary is missing one piece. Like I said, I like Carey. I like Fletcher too, man. Like, I mean, our secondary not having the best year in the world. Like, it's having a year they like to forget about. But our defense stepped up. So once you add that element to that secondary, that last piece of the puzzle, which could have been Dayon Buchanan, we would have been all right. But we didn't. So might take one draft, might take two, man. But it all depends on what. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody want to upgrade from Nate Allen, and I'm pretty sure everybody want to upgrade from our cornerbacks. But maybe you could do that in this draft coming up. I don't know, but we had a lot of missed opportunities, man. Like, Dayon Buchanan, we could have got him, but we didn't. So I would say one draft, man. Like, all it takes is one draft. That's all it takes. Like, but you gotta breathe defense. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just simple as that, man. Like, all it takes is one draft to get that missing piece that we need in our secondary. And you never know, we might have him. It might be Ed Reynolds, could be Jalen Watkins. Like, you never know till you put these guys out there. So I mean, we might have diamonds in the rough. One on our practice squad, and one on the depth chart already. But you gotta play these guys, man. We can fix our secondary the next draft coming up. But now we got the Cowboys coming to town. I'm gonna do another vid, and you know, as far as my game plan for them, because I know they're gonna come in here with a different attitude than they had on Thanksgiving. But I'll get into that on another video. In the meantime, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my subscribers. Love y'all. Follow the Instagram page, We Bleed Green. We_bleed_green. Twitter, We Bleed Green 84. I Bleed Eagles Green on Facebook. I'm all over the place, man. You know, this what we do, man. We're gonna keep trying to build this army. And that's just that, man. I mean, took a tough loss to the Seahawks and everything, man, but we gotta bounce back because this game is for the division. So we can't come in here. We can't let dollars in our house. You know what I'm saying? And take this win home with them. Like, we just can't do that. Like, I hope they fired up. I hope they pissed off about what happened in this game, and I hope we take it out on the Cowboys. But gotta remember, it don't stop there either, man. We gotta take care of business these last 3 games of the season, man. Like, we just have to. We gotta beat Washington. Gotta beat 3 division games to end the year. We gotta win them all. No games. But anyways, man, I love y'all, man. Check this video out. You know, leave feedback, comment below, and shout out to y'all Seahawks fans who posted classy, aside from that other asshole, but for the classy post y'all put on my last video, man. Well, peace out, Bird Gang. Love y'all.